We're back.
Hello, hello.
Sydney's not here, but that's okay because Ethan's here. I just rotate co-hosts.
Yeah,
That's what
we're just
happens.
all we're all at Shelby's beck and call.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in fairness, A&M, you're at the top of the standing, so technically we have to do what you tell us.
Woo! I like this game.
Don't
This
get used
never
to it.
happens. We're never at the top of anything but baseball, and even that's questionable at best.
You sure?
Okay, anything major.
Let's see if Texas A&M has ever actually been at the top of baseball.
Let's see. We almost won a championship last year, so
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. Oh yeah, one runner up. That's all right. Back to the basement, Aggies.
mm, okay. We'll start with this. I wanted Arkansas to beat Texas so badly. And it's not even my hatred of Texas, it's more of my enjoyment of Arkansas.
It's so funny the data that Mitch put together where I knew as soon as that question came out, for whatever reason, Arkansas has always been like the chill cousin in the SEC that unless you're an LSU fan, I feel like you probably don't really hate Arkansas. Like even I don't know, Arkansas has always just been like a vibe.
Honestly, I feel like because they're a rival for us, rival. And I'm like, I feel like if the rivalry was more balanced, I'd hate them more. But it's
Hmm,
not.
shots fired.
I feel the same way about South Carolina. Like, yeah, they beat us this year, but that's twice in 12 years. I don't care.
Yeah, that's how it is with like I actually had this conversation with my wife during the Tennessee Georgia game because as a Yankee, for lack of a better term, she wasn't born and bred in the SEC hatred dome, and so I had to explain to her how Florida and Tennessee were huge rivals throughout the '90s and into the early 2000s because at that time Georgia wasn't very good, and the SEC had just split into divisions. And so the SEC East went through either Florida or Tennessee for pretty much the entire '90s. And so I was a little young for that. And so I never really hated Tennessee that much. And so now that, we reeled off like 15 out of 17 games or so, it's kind of like, yeah, you guys are better than us right now. We still beat them last year. And so it's kind of just like, like, I don't know. I don't really, yeah, we're rivals, but also we beat your ass every time. So it's kind of like, eh, you kind of loses the intensity.
Um, Speaking of intensity, ticket poll for A&M UT has been something. And I have found out now that A&M Galveston students, because they are a extension of the A&M campus in Galveston, so they get to pull tickets if they want, and they can buy a sports pass. So, but they get to pull theirs online because they live in Galveston, and that's about 3 hours away, 4 hours away. So I'm like, okay, if you get to do it online, how come the rest of us have to stand in line for hours? That's not, that seems counterintuitive. It's like, I can do this, but I'm not actually going to let you do it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
had to um Jessica's from Corpus, or she's not from Corpus Christi, but she lived in Corpus Christi for a while, and so she thought Texas A&M was in Corpus Christi because there's a Texas A&M Corpus Christi,
there is.
and when she lived there, she saw A&M stuff everywhere. And so when we were watching an A&M game or something like that, and I told her it was in College Station, she's like, "No, it's in Corpus Christi." And I'm like, "Babe, it's in College Station." And she's like,
No, no, no.
"Ethan, I lived in Corpus Christi. I think I would know." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, all
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then during the NCAA tournament last year, year before, A&M Corpus Christi made it as like a conference winner or whatever. And so like I pulled her in and I'm like, do you remember 6 years ago when we had this debate? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well here I was right. And she's like,
I
okay,
hold on to this. Here you go.
yeah.
That checks out.
I am nothing if not petty.
I love that. It's okay. That's why we're here.
Yes.
We wouldn't have a fun podcast if we weren't petty as hell. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, I didn't even look at the Murray State Kentucky score. I mean, I was expecting that. Murray State has all of one win. But, you know. How was beating LSU?
Have you ever seen the world's longest yeah boy video? That's how it felt.
I'm dead.
So in 2022, we had a very similar thing we did to where we spread it out a little bit more now, but in 2022, we made essentially one huge official visitors weekend. And it was the LSU game. It was a night game, back and forth, huge plays. Both teams, Jaden Daniels had a big run. AR had a big run. And then in the fourth quarter, we got screwed on a roughing the passer penalty where if Jaden Daniels didn't weigh 83 pounds, I don't think they would have called it. But Gervin Dexter basically did what's his name, Jalen Carter from Georgia. Remember in the SEC championship game where he basically just like picks Jaden Daniels up like a child? Gervin Dexter basically did that, but instead of just carrying him, he tackled him, and then they threw the flag on it on a play in which we had an interception. And then they ended up beating us. And it's like, had that interception stood, we, different, who knows? But no, LSU is such a sweet, sweet victory. Well needed. 5 straight losses ever since he who must not be named. And even better, the Patriots, not better, I'm sorry for his demise, but Patriots cut him after their game too. So we beat LSU, broke the curse, and then Marco Wilson gets cut from the Patriots.
I thought we were talking about Marcel Reed, and then I realized who you were talking about. I was like, what do you have against Marcel
Reed? No, besides the fact that he did exactly what I told you he was going to do, which is anytime there is a mobile backup quarterback, they have the game of their life against Florida. Like, it makes no sense, but, that's just who we are.
I don't know if that's the game of his life or the second half of LSU was the game of his life. I'm not sure. But I don't know if you saw any of the A&M game, but Connor looked horrible. And I will not be surprised when he transfers. I just won't.
Let me see. Hold on, let me pull this up. I didn't watch any. Yeah, y'all are playing New Mexico State. Battle of the Aggies.
Yeah, he threw an interception in the end zone. He was sacked twice on back-to-back downs. Yeah. And I understand he was playing with the second and third string, but still, you've got to have more pocket awareness than that. And the interception he threw straight to the defender. Like, it wasn't even like our receiver was like semi-close and it bounced off his hands or whatever. No. You would have thought he was in the A&M uniform.
Well, sometimes it's hard. You guys have very similar colors. You got the same mascot. Maybe he was just confused. Yeah. Did he have his contacts in?
Or maybe he was high. Who knows?
Who knows? Hey, we can start that rumor if you want him off the team.
That was started at the Notre Dame game. They said that he's been high over the whole entire offseason, and he was sick, and this, that, and the other, and that's why we lost, and blah, blah, blah. No. We lost because Connor played like ass. Like
Connor Wegmans' his ass, my dude.
Ass, my dude. It's not Nick Starkel. It's Connor Wigman. Ass, my dude. No, honestly, every time Nick Starkel does something well, I wonder, like, how things happened. Like what? Like what did you do? How did you do that? I feel the same way about Zach Calzada. Like remember that one time you beat Alabama? Good times. Good times. Glows. Every time he does something well now, I'm like, did y'all have to break him first? Or is he just, doing things now? Serious questions. We called him the glow stick because, that makes sense.
Starkel's the head coach at a really big high school in California now, though.
Is he?
Yeah, Corona Del Mar.
Interesting. Things I didn't know for 500.
Because I saw him on a practice squad or like a preseason roster or something. And when it was shown, everybody wanted to make sure that we pointed out that Nick Starkel at least made a practice squad, whereas Tathan Martell was nowhere to be seen. Yeah.
Tathan Martell is Tathan Martell. Where do you see he's a coach?
On his Wikipedia page.
I'm looking at that right now. I don't see that.
Go down to post-college career.
Let's see. Oh, junior varsity head coach.
I didn't catch the junior varsity part, but still, good job, Nick.
Proud of you.
You got your degree. You're starting a career that can be very lucrative. You're 26 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. Good job, Nick.
No, don't fuck it up.
Yeah, don't fuck it up. A&M's going to need a new head coach in 10 years. Come back.
Please.
Start the pipeline early.
Can we, who are we going to add to that? Trevor Knight? That'd be fun. I miss Trevor. I will hang my hat on if he would have, I don't remember what season that was. I think it was my junior year. That if he had not gotten hurt, who knows? Watch out.
You could bring Damon Demas back as wide receiver coach.
I, for the longest time, thought it was Demas. It's fine.
I mean, it might be. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm pretty sure it is Demas. I just thought Demas sounded more, elegant. I don't know.
It does, yeah. Sounds French. Dumas.
I was like, you know what? This sounds good. That's why, like, our tight end from Sweden, I don't even try to say that. Nope. We just call him the Big Swede.
Smart. We have a he's British and German. His name is Noel Portenjagen.
Love that.
And if you look at it, like if you look at it very briefly, it almost looks like his last name is Portageon or like porta potty. So obviously, when some clips came out in the spring of him struggling as a British German offensive lineman. Everybody's like, oh yeah, knock him over like a porta potty.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's mean. So everybody, okay, and this is gonna be my unpopular opinion. Nick Scorton, guy was honored at senior night on Saturday. And everybody's like, no, I want him to come back for another year. And I'm like, y'all know full well this boy ain't coming back. Why would you do that?
Yeah, like I get it. But also I feel like, to me, if you're really trying to build a program up, I think the biggest boost you can have is to put people in the NFL who become great NFL players. Yeah. And then that's what players aspire, high school recruits aspire to be. That's what transfer portal targets see, is like, oh, this, like Mike Evans, right? Even if it's been 10, 12 years and 2 coaching staffs ago, when you talk about big physical wide receivers, most people are going to think Mike Evans, and then where did he go to college? Texas A&M. I want to be the next Mike Evans. And it's like when Jordan Hall did the interview a couple of years ago talking about how Georgia puts D linemen in the NFL, but in the past 10 years, Florida had like twice as many guys drafted to the league. However, Georgia's players were more recent and drafted higher. And so they're more high profile, and that's what kids want to be. And that kind of creates this like self-perpetuating cycle. But
the
yeah,
Myles Garrett's of the world.
yeah, Myles Garrett. Yeah, like Nick Scorton and Myles Garrett. If you're an edge rusher and you look in the NFL and it's like, oh wow, the two guys leading the league in sacks are from Texas A&M. I'm an edge rusher. That's interesting to me. Let me go rep the brand, you know? So I don't get when fans do that to where it's like, we want one player to come back for one more year, but then it's like, okay, well, if he gets hurt, you're going to lose a lot of that prestige and stuff. But I don't know. That's kind of like big picture thinking. If you thought you were making like a title run next year, I could see it.
I felt like, because they're like, let's chant one more year for Nick. And I'm like, let's not. Like, let him reap the benefits of what he has sown, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Like, the kid is going to be first rounder. At least he should be. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Leave the kid alone. And the fact, it's because he's from Bryan, and there's a whole, like, big story behind it, and everybody wants him to stay, and blah, blah, but fine. But let it go. Guys.
All the people who didn't know he existed until
this year, yeah. Yep.
Now he should sacrifice $25 million to come back and appease them.
Yes, pretty much.
Football logic.
I don't know who you are, but I do now, and I care. No, you don't. If you cared, you'd leave him alone.
It's like, yeah, if that connection to Bryan meant so much, he probably would not have been at Purdue for the past 4 years.
I don't know if he. Let's see. Did he get an A&M offer or out of high school? Let's see. Offers. Unrecruited by the Aggies. Very big letters in the third article.
Just to remind you.
So I'm like, so don't, like, y'all got to stop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he was. See, these recruiting industries, you can't trust them. Okay. So Nick Scorton, according to 247sports.com, was ranked as a 4-star top 200 player. Okay. His offer lists include Purdue, SMU, Colorado State, Louisiana, Marshall, Memphis, Nevada, New Mexico, North Texas, Tulane, UTSA, and Western Kentucky. Now, pray tell me, there is no possible way this kid was a top 200 recruit at the time he was in high school, and not a single SEC or Big 12 school offered him. Right? This is obviously some bullshit to where they have gone back and realized, oh, we really screwed the pooch on this guy, and then bump his ranking up.
I mean, Johnny Manziel was what, a 2-star, 3-star, whatever the hell. So, you know, rankings don't mean jack shit anyway.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. Nick Scorton went from the 949th ranked player to 183rd ranked player.
Yeah. I enjoy him.
He's a great player. He is an incredible player. And he is
for him.
He is proof that high school rankings are not the end all be all.
Yep.
JJ Watt was a 2-star.
JJ Watt. Every time I think of JJ Watt, I am then reminded of TJ Watt. Hi, Rebel. And reminded that the Cowboys could have had TJ Watt, but instead we had Taco Charlton. So. But Jerry knows best, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Like, where is Taco now? Not in the NFL.
TJ Watt's doing pretty well.
Who knows? Let's see. So we got Ole Miss and Florida this week. How you feeling?
Has there ever been a top 10 versus 5-5 game with more drama than this one?
Fill me in.
Right. Well, I mean, the overwhelming preferred candidate to replace Billy Napier was Lane Kiffin, right? I mean, I would suspect, unless he gets a big extension, next year he could be number one again, could be LSU, could be Auburn looking to hire him. But either way, he's a very hot commodity and seems to be on the verge of jumping to a better job. The moment, like, it's weird because even though Florida's 5-5 and kind of sucks, our metrics are really good. Our efficiency numbers are good. We just don't run enough plays. We don't get off the field enough. However, play to play, we do pretty well. And so, obviously, coming off the big win at LSU, we've had a commitment every single day this week. Kids seem to the program seems to have moved past the ass whooping Texas handed to us, and A&M handed to us, and Miami handed to us, and are getting behind DJ Lagway, and we're moving forward as a fan base. So Ole Miss should handle this game, right? You look at everything, and they're top of the SEC and all this. However, if we were to pull this game off, it would be, I feel like the fan base as a whole would probably lose its mind, because much like every other fan base, our fans think they know better than everybody else, right? Every time a coach loses, he should be fired. Every time a player fucks up, he should be kicked off the team. He's a waste of scholarship. Every time you get a 3-star kid, it's just a waste of time. All these things, right? And so for the fact that our obnoxious ass fans, and I know you're probably looking at this thinking about what my name is on Facebook and trying not to laugh as I'm saying these words. However, if Billy Napier were to show our fans that Lane Kiffin was not the person that we should have been hired, and people should have been supporting Billy Napier all along, I mean, it would be pants off, dance off. Like, it would be check on me at 2:30 p.m. this afternoon or this weekend, and if we win that game, I'm going to be the most obnoxious fan of a 6-5 unranked team you've ever met.
I don't know. I feel like I've gotten that pretty locked up sometimes. Pretty good. Somebody posted on a message board or like a Facebook group for A&M Athletics, said we're 10-2, and I'm like, on what planet? We're 8-2. They're like, no, and I'm like, yes. Go look. We hope to be 10-2 in 2 weeks. That would be great. But, like, who's giving you this information?
Right.
Who told you this? Because I just want to talk.
Like, do you realize that the season isn't over yet? Therefore, we could not have possibly played 12 games?
Like, what? It's okay. People are just dumb. Let's see. Georgia plays UMass. We don't care.
A lot of snoozers this week.
Tennessee plays UTEP.
I'm sure that they'll go for it on 4th down and kick onside kicks and beat them 85-2 or something. And then all we'll hear about is how great Nico Iamaleava is, and that, you know, he's the Heisman winner next year, and that he's absolutely unstoppable. And then Tennessee will play another SEC team where they put up 15 points, and they're just like, well, what can you do?
It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that little girl that, like, says Nico's last name perfectly but can't say the word spaghetti?
No, I have not.
It's like, she's probably like 6. And they say, how do you say? She's like, what do you have for dinner? Pescetti. Who's the name? That's the name of the Tennessee quarterback, and she pronounces his last name perfectly.
Jesus.
And I was like, this is called brainwashing right here.
So speaking of Tennessee here, this is funny. This is the Tennessee season every season. Chattanooga, 69-3. NC State, 51-10. Kent State, 71-0.
That was so mean.
And that's including when they went for the onside kick when they were up like 50 points or something, because Josh Heupel is just that kind of coach who calls a timeout when he's down 2 touchdowns with 10 seconds left in the game. Did it to Florida, did it to Georgia. Josh Heupel's just a little Bobby Hill looking shithead. But so once they started the SEC play, okay, they scored 25, 19, 23, 24, 28, 33, 31. So since starting before SEC play, they were averaging roughly 60 points a game. And since they actually had to play other SEC teams, they are now averaging 28 points a game. And they do this every single year. You can go, except for the Hendon Hooker year where he was incredible and they had a really good season all year. Josh Heupel's offenses always do that because this is why Tennessee fans, a lot of them I've seen, are starting to push for a different offense, because the veer and shoot bullshit that Heupel and Golesh run, you can rack up points, but if you have athletes on defense that can play man-to-man and can play match coverage against those receivers, you can't do shit. You just throw in Hail Marys all game and hoping that you can complete them, or you're running. And you see it against Georgia, Florida. They beat Alabama this year, but generally against Alabama, it's just a huge step down. So I fully expect Tennessee to put 50 points up on poor little UTEP and then promptly lose to Vanderbilt.
Oh, please. But Vanderbilt beat Alabama, so it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Transitive.
Well, I mean, Tennessee beat Alabama too.
It's not, the word transitive is not what I meant, but I can't. I think I was thinking about something else as well, and we're looking at scores, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it did not come out. The word that I wanted to say did not come out of my brain, but it happened. Kentucky and Texas.
I wonder if this is one of those games to where Kentucky just Kentucky's Texas. I feel like every year there's like, they've already Kentucky'd Ole Miss. They almost Kentucky'd Georgia.
Yep.
It's like Kentucky just has this knack. They just sit in cover 3 and they just attack you and make you fucking throw it in the zones and blitz you. And they're not going to get moved off the ball in the run game, and they're going to force you to complete passes against them. And then when they get the ball, they're like, yeah, we're just going to take 10 minutes off the clock. So I'm curious. I think that 20.5, I'm hammering 20.5. I would definitely take Kentucky to cover 20.5. Do they win the game? I don't know. Kentucky they just have this unique ability to make games ugly. And Texas has been playing some ugly football, except for the game against my beautiful Gators.
Honestly, and I laughed because Mike Elko literally said in an interview today, our focus right now is on Texas. I mean Auburn.
Nice.
And I was like, slow clap, Elko. Good job.
He gets it.
If Texas is in the same boat and they're like, no, we don't need to worry about Kentucky. We have to worry about A&M.
That maybe that's the Kentucky effect that I was getting at. Maybe it is Kentucky is just a perennial trap game, and they play so physical and dirty that you're not, if you're not on your game and you line up against Kentucky, they're going to mash you and they're going to make you uncomfortable, and you get a turnover, or you go for it on 4th down and get stopped or whatever, and then they get momentum and they just kind of grind you down. I could see it happening, man. Texas has had some ugly offensive games, and I think Kentucky, if they can generate enough points, they could pull an upset here.
I'm concerned though, because if Kentucky makes it a game, do they bench Quinn Ewers and go to Arch Manning? Because I feel like Quinn is a better matchup for A&M than Arch is. And that's a lot.
I would rather face Quinn so I feel like your D-line and pass rush is the key. And I feel like against a guy like Arch Manning, who hasn't really played a whole lot of actual live football, and with a defensive guy like Mike Elko, I think that he could confuse the hell out of Arch and send some really exotic pressures at him. And then you guys have the D-line to cover, like to get to him. I think Ewers, I don't know, Ewers kind of has that Jackson Dart and Carson Beck thing to where when they're having a good game, they look like a first overall pick, but then they'll just go like a quarter where they just turn into like Anthony Richardson. And you're like, what happened? Like you were just dropping dimes, you weren't throwing into coverage, you were hitting people, and then all of a sudden, for just like you just forget how to play the position.
Honestly, okay, I was talking to my mom, and she's like, "Well, the Cowboys are going to end up with like the 3rd overall pick," and I was like, "Yeah, probably." And she goes, "Then we can draft Quinn Ewers," and I was like, "Why the fuck would we do that? Don't wish that upon me. The hell, no." Overshown is enough Longhorn on the Cowboys for me. And I hate that I like him.
Actually, you guys are screwed. Cowboys, you guys are probably going to finish with because you're already 3-7.
Oh, yeah.
So you got
probably get the Panthers. And that's about it. And that's even debatable at this point.
6, 7, 8. There's already 8 teams with a worse record than you. So unless y'all lose out, you're looking at probably an 8 to 10 or so pick.
And that's still not bad.
But that means you're missing out on Shedeur Sanders. That means you're missing Travis Hunter. You're missing out on the offensive tackle from Utah. Like there's, I don't know. DeMarcus Lawrence being hurt, he's on my fantasy team, and him being hurt all year, and Micah Parsons being dinged up. Like you guys missed Dan Quinn. Like it really, it's not even fun to watch the Cowboys games anymore because like the most fun thing about watching the NFL is the defenses to me because the offenses are all the same. And
did you see Micah Parsons' bullshit comments about Mike McCarthy?
Yes, I did. Were they real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just. I thought that was like a fake internet thing.
No, he literally basically said, "I don't give a shit if he leaves or goes. Like he hasn't put in as much work as I have." Pretty much is what he said.
Professional sports is not ready for this next generation.
Like Micah and his podcast is going to get him in trouble.
Like this next generation, you're kind of closer to it. I'm too old for it, but thoroughly Gen Z folks are brutally honest and they're brutally themselves. Yep. And I feel like professional sports, you look at the pushback on Caleb Williams just for painting his nails, right? Like you see people like Ricky Williams when he wore a nose ring in 2000s, people were like, "Oh my God, he's got a nose ring in." And now people are like, "Oh, Caleb Williams is painting his fingernails." It's like, dude, if you think painting your fingernails and wearing a nose ring is wild, you are not ready for some of these kids that are about to be coming through the NBA and the NFL because they'll have full-on tattoos on their faces, everything pierced up. I'm sorry. It's
of the NFL.
And you do not want them in a press conference because if you ask them a question, they are going to tell you exactly what they want to say because they've grown up in social media. Like being in front of a camera and having what you're saying broadcast to the world, they don't care. Like you're talking about Micah Parsons' podcast. He don't care what he says in a press conference because guess what? He's going to go record himself saying what he wants to say the next day.
And he's going to put it on the internet.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay. The thing with the Cowboys that made me laugh, I didn't watch the game last night. I'm going to be honest. I didn't. I followed the first quarter and was like, fuck this shit, I'm done. And that was like 10. No, I followed the first half, kind of. I was watching Food Network. So it was like on my phone. And it was like 17-10. I was like, nah, this is over. I was right. But Mike McCarthy basically said afterwards that if it was his choice, Trey Lance would have played. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean if it was your choice? You're the coach. What?
So we do have some breaking news here. While we were recording this show, the CFP bracket or rankings were released.
We're still 15, but we actually got a tweet this time. I don't know if you looked, but the original ranking, the last rankings, we were still 15, but they skipped us in the tweets. They went 14, 16. And I was like, y'all fuckers.
We got Boise State hosting. Not hosting. No, they were on a bye. Damn it. No, we got to make Boise State at most a 5th seed.
I would love to see this happen.
Because we have to be on the Smurf turf if we have Boise State in the playoffs.
Smurf turf. I love it. Somebody everybody's made the AI image of like A&M playing on the maroon field. And every year an old ag is like, oh, look what we did. Guys, this is not real. The internet made that. And they're like, no, it's real. And I'm like, okay. See you on game day.
So we got Missouri and Mississippi State. This has to be one of the more boring games on the slate.
Is Brady Cook still? Is he okay? Because if Brady doesn't play and Michael Van Buren plays, I could see Mississippi State doing something. Not big, not like pulling it off, but like it would be closer than when Brady Cook's gonna play.
Well, Brady Cook plays for Missouri and Michael Van Buren plays for Mississippi State.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if Brady Cook does not play, Mississippi State may actually be able to play.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
No, you're good. I was like, I know who I'm talking about. I promise. I'm tired, but I know. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that. Because I've played Brady Cook, though he wasn't very good when we played Brady Cook. But that's okay because, practice is louder than Kyle Field, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't say shit like that. It doesn't work well for you. You would think that at some point a player learns to not challenge fan bases.
Especially in college basketball. Like, it's bad in college football too, but in college basketball where the fans are like right on top of the bench.
Yep.
I don't know how many intense basketball games you went to while you were at A&M, but like, dude, the student sections in the SEC basketball, they are brutal. They will make signs. They will chant awful things.
Yep.
Not quite as bad as A&M baseball fans.
Love A&M baseball fans.
Do you? Because 2 of them got banned for life because they were calling Kevin O'Sullivan.
It's already come out. They were literally they didn't go to A&M. We don't play.
Okay. This is this is an Antifa situation.
We don't claim that. Well, they could be A&M fans. That's fine. But they did not go to A&M. We don't claim them. I don't claim them.
We'll put this one under appeal. As the offended here, I do not accept that justification. But I don't
justify it at all.
We'll let the committee decide.
The committee hates us, so it's fine. But no, okay. I think it was my sophomore year or my junior year. We beat Kentucky. Tyler Davis's freshman year. Tyler Davis, Advon Gilder, DJ Hogue, that group. We beat them on a Tyler Davis putback, and we started to rush the court. And they stopped everybody. They pushed everybody back. We're like, we have to check and make sure it went in on time. We're like, hell. So I am sitting on the edge of the court like out of my seat, around, and just sitting there. Like, okay, did it go in? I'm ready. Oh man, good times.
See, that's why you don't rush the court and you don't rush the field. Florida had 6 layers of security on the sidelines because Steve Spurrier decided to say that Florida fans should rush the field if they beat LSU. And obviously, Florida is one of 2 SEC schools that hasn't rushed the field. And so I take that as a matter of great pride. I do not think you should rush the field for a number of reasons, but I'm not going to go on that tangent tonight. But I have let my feelings on rushing the field in court be known. But there was a little bit of suspense around whether or not the fans would actually do it. And once the 2-minute warning hit and the game was in hand, the number of state troopers and security personnel and police that were on, like, you literally, they were basically shoulder to shoulder all the way around the stadium to make sure it didn't happen. And I'm like, thank you, UF. Like, yes, could 100,000 people get past these 500 security guards? Maybe, but they don't want to try it.
I don't like, I'm not the biggest proponent of rushing the field, I'll be honest. Like, it's not my favorite thing. However, when we beat Alabama with Zach Calzada and Seth Small, and Seth Small's wife was like, nope, fuck it, I'm going. Like, that is like all-time moments that I've seen. Like, she was like, I gotta go get to my husband now. Bye. But otherwise, like, meh. Of course, I've also never rushed the field, so that could probably be part of it. But I've never felt that. Could have been at LSU in, what was that, 2018? Yeah, 18, 7 overtimes. Could have been there. Ex-boyfriend didn't want to go because he was sure we were going to lose. So, cool. It's fine. I'm not bitter. Not at all. Literally, I said the tickets were like $20 in the third deck, but still, it was game day. I was like, oh, let's go. And he's like, yeah, we're going to lose. It's not worth it. And I was like, oh my God, I hate you. Go away. Get out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. Go away. Let's see. I am actually scared to death of going to Jordan-Hare this weekend. And I shouldn't be.
You know, trust me, there is not a team you want to play in November less than Auburn on any year. It makes no sense. They are the most illogical team in the country. Jordan-Hare, and I hate that I have to call it Jordan. It's Jordan. Jordan-Hare is how it's spelled. Why do I have to say Jordan? Like Jordan-Hare. Like, it's fucking Jordan. Say your shit right. You got 2 mascots. You're an eagle and a tiger. Pick one. It's spelled Jordan, but I got to say Jordan. Pick one. Spell it right or say it right. Auburn. This is why Auburn is chaos. Is because of multiple factors. You have 2 mascots. Your name's wrong. I would be terrified if I were a 15th ranked Texas A&M having to go into Jordan-Hare in November. I would be scared shitless.
I'm terrified.
And you should be.
And the fact that Elko is apparently looking forward to Texas.
And see, that's one of those comments that, to me, when you said it, I was like, damn, he gets it. Like, you have to say, like Florida coaches not referring to FSU as FSU, but calling them the school out west. It's one of those things to where non-Florida and FSU fans probably don't even know it's a thing. But when you're in the fan base, you do. And so you want your coach to also do that. And when you said that about Elko, it's like he gets it. He was an Aggie. He was there. He knows how much y'all hate Texas. But if he fucks up and loses that game, that quote will be all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, it's a risk reward. I mean, I'll be rooting for y'all, but
and Jordan, Lane Kiffin is like low-key pissed that we've been getting all these night games.
It's bullshit. I'm sorry. I mean,
I'm so annoyed. I'd rather play 2:30. because I don't want to be up this late. I like sleep.
Mm-mm. I mean, I'm with you. I like sleep as well, but
Except
I don't
for the
know.
Texas game. That's fine.
A night game just hits different.
Oh, yeah. Like the LSU game needed to be at night, and God bless America that it was. It was beautiful. And Texas being at night is going to be great. And I have a friend that's a Texas fan because a bunch of them are like, I'm not even scared of A&M anymore after we lost to South Carolina. And one of them was like, no, y'all are stupid. This is a different game. Then they could have they could be 0-11 going in and I'd still be scared. I was like, yep. It was like, plus Kyle Field is not the place I want to be. I was like, well, here we are. It's okay. It happens. But no, I don't think A&M and Auburn should be a night game. I really don't.
I do. I think that'll be exciting. But also, LSU has played twice as many night games as pretty much anybody else in the SEC. And like, I think that's just absolute bullshit. Like Vanderbilt, I mean, they're getting it this weekend with LSU, but they have to go to Death Valley. Like every team should be guaranteed at least one night game a season. And I think they probably hit pretty close to that, but they should be guaranteed to host a night game. And like, I feel like it gives us perception, like you're talking about Lane Kiffin being pissed, but also everybody talks about how terrifying Death Valley is for night games at LSU. And it's such a manufactured thing because the SEC literally decides to give LSU 4 or 5 night games a season. And it's like, why? Like, even even when they were, 5-5 or, under 500 or whatever, they still get the night games. And then it's like, oh, LSU's so loud and raucous at midnight. And it's like, every team in the SEC is like that. LSU just gets to do it twice as often.
LSU's also like if you give LSU a night game, that gives them more time to drink. And the more they drink, the scarier they become.
Well, that's just because
that's how LSU works.
Basically the entire family tree for the state of Louisiana is a stick.
God damn it. Okay, no, speaking of the state of Louisiana, we were talking about Speedy Noil, me and my mom yesterday. And I said, where is Speedy Noil now? And she goes, probably arrested. I was like, cool. That's horrible. Don't say that. No, but the last time he posted on Instagram was in 2022, and it was a picture of his wings and his Apple Watch.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, all right. Like it was like a workout screenshot on his Apple Watch. So it's like you like saying, I worked out, now I get chicken wings. Like, I don't understand.
That's good protein.
Like, I don't understand. But he hasn't posted since, so I have no idea what he's doing. But, it's fine.
Oh, no, your mom was right, actually.
Was he arrested?
I think what year did you say he last posted on Instagram? You said 2019 or so?
22.
2022?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. He may that may have been because he got arrested and then sentenced to prison for assault, evading arrest, and failure to pay bond on 2 previous charges.
Oh, yep, that checks out.
So, unlike Nick Starkel, see, children, this is a cautionary tale. Okay, all of my listeners, even if you're ass, you never stop trying your best to be the best ass you can be, and that's Nick Starkel. Nick Starkel became the best ass that he could be. Speedy Noil, the number 1 player in the country, every school in the world wanted him, goes to A&M, and he does not focus on becoming the best version of himself. And he actually has the opposite. He goes from being great to being ass. Whereas Nick Starkel is now shaping the minds and bodies of young football players. He is the future. Nick Starkel is the future.
Speedy Noil, the only thing I know about Speedy is that at one point he walks up and I was talking to somebody and he goes, I'm going to steal Quiv's jersey so I can be Speedy Gonzalez. And I was like, okay.
I like it.
Like, and just completely unprompted. No one was talking to him. No one was mentioning him or at all. He just walked up and said, let me tell you this. And I was like, okay. All right. Thanks for sharing. That was the same class I had with Kyle Allen and Christian Kirk.
Nice.
And they, as much as they were friends, they didn't sit by each other in class.
That's probably because they were friends.
Talk.
Yeah, they knew. They knew if they were in class. I used to have this thing with my buddy when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, to where if the teacher said a big number, we would point at ourselves, and then if they said a small number, we would point at each other. And obviously, being young boys, that was the joke, right? We were one's bigger than the other. And it literally got to the point to where we just had to be on opposite sides of the classroom from each other, because we would screw with each other so much during class that if we sat next to each other, we would be in trouble. We would fail. And I can assure you, I was the exact same way in college. So I completely assume that it's because they probably would goof off with each other and play the game and do the circle thing where you hit each other in the arms.
That class brings me 2 memories. Miles Garrett, every single time he did something well, our professor would stand up at the beginning of class and go, Miles Garrett, and start talking about what Miles did. Miles is just like, what the fuck? Go away. And then Speedy Noyle would have these like itty bitty like earbuds in his ears. And he would sit at the top of the lecture hall. And our professor would go, Mr. Noyle, you can take those out now. I am speaking. And I was like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Like, all right. And we're like, all right, it's cool. Colby, don't fuck around today. This is American history. Pay attention. Like, good Lord. Let's see. We got Alabama and Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I don't trust to do anything.
Do they fire Brent Venables if
if
they lose this game?
I hope so. For their sake.
When's the last time Oklahoma had a losing season?
Yesterday. I'm just kidding.
Yesterday. Not too far off. Let me see. Let's take a quick gander here.
Today's episode has been brought to you by Google.
Yeah, this episode's been brought to you by me and Shelby having to look stuff up. Oklahoma has not had a losing season since 1998.
Wow. Of course, the quality of competition's a little different.
But, it sucks that Texas got handed the easiest schedule in the conference. Like, I think Texas is a very good team. I think that they could have been handed the hardest schedule in the conference and still been 1 or 2 losses. But the challenge and the I don't know how it is for A&M, but it feels like after every game, like you get one player back healthy, and then there's another player who has a bone bruise or a sprained wrist, or they just have to miss a week.
Oh no, out.
Oh yeah, I mean our injury reports like 10 to 15 people who are just out, like not questionable, but just out.
Le'Veon Moss against South Carolina, we lost him. Last week we lost Cyrus Allen because whenever he got hit, somebody did a freeze screen when he got hit, and his elbow is like protruding, and I was like, oh, that's not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And now he's having surgery on his arm. And I was like, yeah. And I was talking to one of my guy friends, and he's like, these athletes, they're not built the same as we were. Because Justin Dunning, my sophomore year, popped his knee back into place and then continued to play. Like, it popped out, and he was just like, and got up and kept going. And someone was like, yeah, sure, okay.
I mean, I literally had the same thing happen to me when I was in middle school, to where we were playing softball in PE, and this is like a pickup game of softball, right? Nobody else is taking this shit seriously. There's one guy in my class hits the ball to the outfield. That's where all the girls are. No offense, Shelby. None of these girls played softball. They were the ones who wanted to sit by the fence and just talk to each other and hope the ball doesn't come to them, right? So the ball goes all the way out to them. He's running, and I'm facing the outfield. I'm left-handed. I'm facing the outfield, waiting for the ball to get to me, and this guy slides into third base. Who the fuck slides? He was wearing cargo shorts. Who slides in a pickup softball game, right? I'm not expecting him to slide, so I'm like bent over like to get the ball. He slides into my knee, and when he does, it dislocates my kneecap. When I fall onto my leg, it pops it back into place. And for the next like 6 weeks, I could take my kneecap and like move it all over my knee. It was like the grossest thing ever. Everybody at school hated it because it like super like hyperextended my patellar tendon and stuff. But I didn't get back up. I couldn't. I had definitely had to be in like a cast for like 5 weeks, but nothing tore. I mean, it's weird how your body can do that sometimes, right? Like nothing tore. It hurt like hell, but I was mostly okay.
But yeah, he like continued to play the football game.
Yeah, but his injury wasn't as bad as mine. That's what I'm going to go with.
But I was just like, I remember like someone as I was there. So I didn't see it happen. I just saw him go down and then him get back up and jump off to the sideline. We were like, okay, cool. But then someone texted me because I was watching the game and said Justin Dunning just popped his knee back into place. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? They're like, yeah, watch. And sent me the tweet. And I was like, oh my God. Of course,
yeah, here it is.
Child that tore both of his ACLs twice. So those knees are not good.
No.
We interviewed him, me and my friend John, on this podcast a while ago. And if you ask him about that UCLA game, he'll like, we didn't, what are you talking about? That never, what? It was like, same, retweet. Like, he was like, I didn't play in that game. We're like, yes, you did. And he's like, shh, no, I didn't. Like, all right, Justin, sure. All right, Vandy and LSU.
I'm going Vandy here.
Please. Is it in Death Valley?
Yes. Yep, it's in Death Valley. I think LSU, I mean, they're a talented team. If they can pull it off, they might be okay. I think if they lose this game, though, I think there's a shitstorm in Baton Rouge.
Brian Kelly and his fake Southern accent.
Family.
Like, why? Tell me why you needed to fake the Southern accent. Like, what did you gain from that besides people mocking you on the internet?
She's a fraud.
And his lack of dancing skills.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Like, I just can't. I can't. And like, I love Mike Elko, and I'm really glad he doesn't try to dance.
He's an actual like normal adult.
And of course, people are like, well, he's because he's obese, and I'm like, okay. And most like, I don't see that many coaches that are like well healthy, Like,
I feel like it's definitely like boom or bust. Like, I feel like coaches are either like in good shape or they're fat. Like, yeah. And I feel like it's kind of unfair, right? Because like you do have coaches who were former offensive and defensive linemen who are just big dudes, and then they could be. Elko does not look obese. Elko's chubby. I want to give Elko a hug. He's like I don't know, him and Drinkwitz are probably the nerdiest looking coaches in the SEC. Pittman's the coolest. Everybody else besides Billy Napier sucks.
Oh, okay.
No, not sucks in coaching, but just seems like sucky dudes.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, I enjoy Elko. I really think that he was the right hire for A&M, but we shall see.
We shall
the
see.
fact that even if we lose to Texas, and I'm not saying this because like I'm battered Aggie syndrome, we may like that kind of thing, but I'm saying that even if we lose to Texas and we finish 9-3, minus the bowl game, it's not a horrible season, you know?
9-3 in year one. I do think that A&M pulled the plug at the right time. I think that that class a couple of years ago, enough pieces decided to stick around. Like not a ton. You lost a lot, but you have enough pieces from that class, and you guys have recruited well, and then Elko did really good in the portal. I think 9-3 with the team that you have, and then looking forward to next year where you have Reed and maybe a chance to add some offensive weapons. And I mean, you guys are looking good for next year too. So it's definitely hard to complain about what Elko's done, for sure. But losing to your biggest rival to end the season
would suck. Yes.
As a Florida fan, it does change the entire perception of how that first season goes. 9-3, no, like that's successful. You're in CFP contention, right? But you drop this game to Auburn, you drop a game to Texas, it can change real quick.
Especially with the fact that this is the reigniting of the rivalry.
Yeah,
that adds an extra wrinkle to things.
Mm-hmm.
That if you're gonna lose, at least lose close.
Because just know, you will have a miserable year if you let Texas beat y'all in their first year in the SEC.
Oh yeah,
especially if they win the SEC when y'all haven't even been to the championship game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's rough, man. It's like, the past two FSU teams, the past two seasons, have been two of the best FSU teams since the Jimbo era. And we had to face them, and they did really well. And then they cratered. I mean, they're 1-9 this year, right? And so it's like, you got to acknowledge that Texas is probably the better team, and they are your biggest rival. But, it doesn't really change a whole lot if you lose the game. That's the beauty of rivalries. Like, it's either win or lose. Like, just put up or shut up. So it's going to be intense. I'm excited. I cannot wait.
It's going to be a good game. I'm very excited. Yep. You could not pay me enough to not watch it.
Oh, no. I think we'll all be glued to our TVs.
We're like, oh, my God.
A little post-Thanksgiving action.
Hey, people are really excited that the Egg Bowl is not on Thanksgiving this year.
As they should be.
It was like, hey, no, the Thanksgiving is for NFL. I literally, Faisal and I found a shirt that literally says, I was told there would be turkey, football, and pie. And if that's not my personality encapsulated, I don't know what is.
I feel that. I'm excited. I talked to my mom today. Game planning Thanksgiving.
Yes. All right, my friends. I think we're done Googling for the night.
Yeah, we'll let Sydney Google next time. We'll let her drive. She had to take a break this week, but next week she's our research consultant.
Oh goodness.
Yes. No pressure, Sid.
You put Sydney in charge. I don't know about all that.
I believe in her.
Okay. No, just kidding. Totally kidding. Love you, Sid. All right. Thanks and gig 'em, y'all.
Go Gators.